At KSMO Radio, it is Intercounty Tuesday, and Tony Floyd has made his way over. We haven't seen you in a few months.
That's probably a good thing.
Not necessarily, buddy. I always enjoy talking to you, and of course, you're a granddaddy again.
Yes.
So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And,
Great time.
So how many is that now?
Just two.
Two?
Yep.
All right.
We're growing, but it's all right.
Stephanie wants it faster.
Yeah. Absolutely. She just keeps buying animals for him, though. So we got this menagerie of animals at the house. So it's been
always ready. Right?
That's right.
When they come by, you're going to be ready.
That's it.
Very
she
good.
is.
Very good. Well, anyway, it's good to have you here, my
Thank
friend.
Thank you very much, sir.
And we always appreciate Tony and our friends from Intercounty coming by. And it's a busy time for you guys. It's just starting the summer season, which means fair season, festival season. And it all started with the annual meeting here just a few weeks ago.
Correct.
How'd it go?
It went very well. The new format has kind of shortened it a little bit. You know, we go from board meeting starts at 9. Everything's done by noon, and we're kind of out of there. And that format's working real well. Unfortunately, the trend, since COVID, is we're having just a few less people show up. In person, we only had 406 this year.
Ooh.
And when I first started here, we would have 1,000, 1,200, 17,
800 was a rainy day.
Yep, that's exactly right. And, I know COVID has affected that, and, people have gotten busier and lives change and everything else. And But overall, we had 968 total votes come in, through mail-in and then in person. So we had plenty to have our board meeting, and it was ratified, and our 3 board members all got the incumbents won. Mm-hmm. There was one contested one, and the incumbent did win that. Had 3 bylaws proposed on that. They all passed. It was more directed at vetting the board members, and making sure their backgrounds are good,
Putting things more in place with today's
Absolutely
correct.
Correct. And those all got passed unanimously, so there was no problems there. We did have 2 grand prize winners that won the $500 electric credit, and no, Stan, it was not you. I'm sorry. It wasn't me either. Nobody here, darn it, won.
All right.
Steve Settles from Licking, and then Beverly Lee from Rolla. They were our 2 big winners, and we did, we give out various credits throughout the morning, and that's helped as well. We don't give out the prizes; we just do these, and you don't have to be present to win.
Right.
So that we just go on and put that on their bill, and that's helped speed things up a little bit as well.
And one of the things this year, though, wasn't the last Friday of the month, which
Correct.
is also a difference. And
Correct.
that might have affected a little bit of the attendance because most people always thought it's the last Friday of the month. And I'm sure some people still did.
Heck, I come onto that week and I'm thinking, holy smokes, this is the week. It's supposed to be next week. So you're correct. I'm sure it kind of
It'll be
surprised
back
a lot
to
of-
normal next
It
year.
it will be, yes.
Yeah, we're going to have leap year
Yep.
next year, too. So
Yep.
definitely we'll be back.
Yes, it
the
will.
last Friday
Yeah,
of the month.
when you're getting ready to set up for all that and you're like, today's the day we start. So we did.
Yeah, and 400 is nothing. In the 400 range, 500 range is nothing to sneeze at. No. But compared to what it used to be a very jam-packed event.
It did. And throughout the years, back when I was in school, high school, there used to be the fair and all that would be in there at the same time, and they were, they would do it as well as the annual meeting. So it was a great week actually for Licking and what was going on, all the festivities, and and it's just things change. It's just what it is, and people get busier and. Entertainment gets changes, and your idea of what you think's important is changes as well. But we do know that and want our members to know that this is for them. It is their board members. It's their board meeting, and we want to make sure they're well represented. So,
and let's also clarify something too, Tony. Now with the new system of mailing in your proxy vote, which you used to have to either do in person or have somebody vote for you, makes a big difference.
It really does.
Because now that you can mail that vote in ahead of time, makes it a lot easier for people who I understand they probably want to go, but I just don't know what's going to happen that day, and I might be busy, and so go ahead and mail it off. It does make it a lot more convenient for people who would really have had to struggle to get out to the meeting.
It does, and actually through our mail-in votes, we had enough to meet our minimum. So you're exactly right. So no matter what would happen, if we'd had nobody show up, we would have still been able to ratify our board meeting and the votes on the members and the bylaws and all that. So it really does make a lot of difference, and it's very much appreciated. And any and everybody, I hope next year when you get if you can't make it, please mail those in. That helps.
And I think part of the big thing that used to be too, you had to be in person to win the prizes.
Correct.
So you don't have to do that anymore. So I think that makes it also, you take less of the incentive to go to it because, well, it's going to be kind of high.
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
I remember one meeting, and I can't remember what year it was, Tony, and I don't even want to even remember because I didn't go to it because I was working that day. But people who went said it was unbearable.
It is.
It was
amazing.
like 104 or something, and it was just direct sun, and there was no breeze. And those days happen. And they're going to happen again. We all know that. But if you can't plan for that, there's no way you can sit there and say June 1st or even January 1st, and you start making your calendar out. Oh, June 23rd, is that going to be a scorcher? Yeah, we're going to put that down. So we're going to have that one.
We're going to wait till the hottest day.
You bet. It's just you just can't predict what's going to happen with the weather. So, but actually fairly mild.
It really was. It was not a bad morning at all. The wind, the new pavilion we're under allows for a breeze under there, and it's good protection, and it was really good. We had Texas County Memorial Hospital over there doing their medical tent again, and had several vendors down there. So, it overall it turned out really well. It was a good time, and this was a really nice weather day. We will take these every time if they want to do, because you've been there some days when it's it's 60 degrees and it's raining. The next year it's 104 and it's the humidity, so you can't even walk because you're walking through a wall of water. There's a lot of differences every year, but we're glad that people do show up to come out.
And we also, I think everybody out there who goes to this needs to tip their caps to the Intercounty staff. This is not just a one-day event. I mean, you start on this actually probably July 1st for the next year, and then you've got a lot of people have to get together. You got to get everything set up. You got to make sure everything's working. Even with today's technology, you still got to make sure you got Wi-Fi and you got that thing working. Yep. So there's a lot of different things that all have to be put into place. They got to be tested. They got to be checked. It is still a team event.
It really is. It's amazing for the week, just for setup that week. It's amazing, all the things you have to get together and bring in, and the food's coming in, the drinks are coming in, the chips are coming in. You got to get the water and the barrels, everything, and then it takes all week, and it takes you about an hour to take it down. It's like, wow, that goes out fast. But it really is a team effort. I mean, everybody comes in and works, gets things going, whether it's the parking, whether hanging the flag, guys helping with handing out the bags. It is a true team effort when it comes to that day, and it works really well. And it's a great day because everybody gets to be together, and we get to see folks we don't get to see every day.
Well, and that takes me to the next step. You get to see some other people because you guys still are involved in a lot of the fairs and festivals that go on in the area, and that doesn't change. COVID's done, and a lot of these festivals and fairs have come back.
Right.
And if you're in Intercounty area in one of those festivals or fairs, more than likely you're going to see somebody from Intercounty at that fair or festival.
Absolutely. We always, the last few years, we haven't been, COVID kind of stopped us going to and setting up our booths, and we're getting back into those kind of slowly. The thing we will have, though, is there will always be somebody there for the livestock day. There'll be board members there, and we will be buying animals to help our youth and make sure we support them and what they do. So you're right, Sam. We always will have somebody at those fairs, and depending on what area it is, could be a different board member.
Sure.
But Karen is usually Karen McNew is usually their member services manager, and that is important to us. We live in these areas.
Sure.
These kids do tremendous work working on their animals and raising them, and it's important to us that we do support that.
So if you have an opportunity, we have the 4-H FFA livestock auction coming up Saturday. It's Saturday morning, a lot more cooler on Saturday morning than it used to be that afternoon.
That's right.
And of course, we want to remind everybody's welcome to come out. There's no charge to get in. You can come on out, and of course, the shows, the actual judging shows, are Friday.
Right.
And so they'll have all that. And of course, we remind everybody the exhibition building there is air conditioned. That's always nice to be able to go in. Man, see all the great exhibits by the 4-Hers, too. You know, there's a lot of work that's put into it. You know as well as I do. You've been to many and many of these. Hard to believe you're only 29. But
thank you.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
When you start to see all the effort that some of these kids are just amazing with their
really
creativity, putting stuff together. So check it out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. I highly recommend you come out. Again, it's free. Doesn't cost you a thing. I know that you might not think, well, what am I going to see in there? You know, is it going to be a gourd or something I'm going to see? Well, yeah, it might be a gourd. Yep. It might be a gourd turned in that somebody created into something else.
Yep.
You know, or I remember one time I went out there and I saw this ironwork stuff. This kid actually made a pretty impressive bench made out of old gears and things of that. And I thought, where did you get that idea?
Yeah, exactly.
It was pretty cool, and he welded it himself.
Yep.
I thought that's pretty impressive.
It really is impressive.
Yeah, but who carried that?
No
it's
kidding.
not going anywhere.
That's right. It is fun to go out there and even just to watch the livestock show and see how much kids have worked with their animals and you know, all the time they've put in, you know, just like that, the gorge or whatever it is. They've put in a tremendous amount of time. And you want to thank the folks that work with those 4-H kids because, you know, they have done a tremendous job getting them involved, doing things, keeping them on in timelines and making sure everything works. And big thanks goes to them, and a big thanks goes to the parents and the kids because they do a lot of work to get these things going.
We truly have been blessed with some great 4-H leaders in our area, and we want to, you know, send out a big thank you to them. And that's not easy. No. You know, I mean, you're trying to coordinate things. You got schedules. I mean, you got your own personal schedule. You got your family, and then you're trying to fit in some of these, you know, I'll say courses, classes, maybe time to just sit down with some people. It's pretty amazing what some of these instructors or volunteers do to help teach these youngins maybe a thing of the past, maybe work with them with firearms, maybe archery, or maybe just some other skill that they've got. You know, it's pretty amazing. So I tip my cap. Those 4-H advisors and also the FFA people who do a great job. Put together a fantastic show. Still one of the top ones in the area when you start looking at the amount of dollars that are spent.
That's exactly right.
But also, I think it's so well done, and it's gotten to be where it's fairly streamlined. You start at 9, you're done by around noonish or so now. Even with the amount of animals we have, they get them in, they get them through there. They've got a nice system over there. So tip of the cap to your livestock committee. They do a tremendous job, constantly reviewing and listening to suggestions to try and make it better for everybody.
That's
so.
Right.
We hope you get a chance to go out.
We do have the opportunity. Our statewide association, AMEC, out of Jeff City, they go to like Camp Cloverleaf up at the Lake of the Ozarks, which is a 4-H camp.
Right.
And we get the opportunity to go to those, and we'll spend a day with them up there. And the last few years, we built an electric cord with them. We purchased the electric cord. We help them build it. They know how to actually put the thing together, and it comes. They use them a lot. We get told that every year. It's like, do we get to build another cord? Because we could use another one. But it is a great opportunity for us to see those kids in a different light. And I'm telling you what, those kids are impressive. Yeah. They really are.
And if you can't make it, we have it on KSMO Media.
Right.
We stream it, not only the audio, if you can't catch the stream, maybe you don't have enough bandwidth to make that happen. Well, you can listen to it on the radio side. But if you want to video stream it, we also have that on our KSMO Media as well. Awesome. So get a chance to check that out. It's really an outstanding event. All right, one of the things we just had happen, obviously, and kind of you and Melba were talking about just before it came on the air, was have some adverse weather that kind of came through the area, and it did some damage, obviously. We know that Intercounty has done a great job with eliminating a lot of those trees that come down and take out lines. It still doesn't prohibit storms coming in and still playing havoc with the system.
That's exactly right. And the thing, I know people get upset with us sometimes, think we're not timely, but there is really a method to our madness. I mean, we don't mean that bad. We're not trying to put anybody off. We're not trying to make you stay off or allow you to be off any longer than you are, because we want you to have your electric when you want it. But it starts at our substations. So if we have a large outage, we start at the substation and work out.
Yep,
so that way you get the largest amount of people on quickly. And besides, that's the feeder to all the other lines that are out there. So you have to get it on. You have to get it cleared. Once you get it done, then you start working the larger outages off those single, off that the trunk line, I guess, if you want to call it that. So sometimes it does take longer, especially when we have a large outage like that. We have 60-plus linemen, but you're talking 2 or 3 crews a lot of times, with brush crews a lot of times, especially if you have, like this last one, lots of large trees down. So, I mean, you have to clear that out.
Yeah.
Then you have to
They may not have hit the lines, but they're still in the way.
That's exactly right. Sometimes we can't even get to where we need. So you got to clear those out. Then you start putting the lines back together. Then you got to, if there's another, you got 2 or 3 trees on one section. It takes a lot of time, and we're not trying to make excuses. We just want you to understand that we're working at this as fast as we can, but we're doing it as safe as we can. We want our guys to go home as much as anybody, and that's a dangerous job when they're out there working storms, because a lot of times they're working during those storms.
Yeah.
They're out there in the worst weather, and we want everybody to know, as I'm an employee of them, but I appreciate our linemen and what they do, because it is amazing, and they do a great job, and their goal is to get you on as quick as possible. So, if you have a problem, you don't feel like you've been served. I had a couple of people call me. They weren't actually on the list, so I did what they did. I just called in. I got their location number and called in. But do make sure that you're on that list, because a lot of times, sometimes if there's a lot of outages,
right,
they may not see that on there. So call in, give your location number, so they know that you are having problems. Both these people that call me, they weren't completely out. It was just partial outages at their facility. So, if it's a 3-phase going in there or something like that,
yeah.
part of the, one of the lines may have got knocked off or something. So that's important too. We don't know that. It can still show that location has electric, and one of those phases may be off. So you just need to call in and to our dispatch, and they will get you on the list and make sure you get covered.
But with today's technology, Tony, and a lot of times when people do call in, it does tell you how many people are out.
Yes, correct.
But you can also go on Smart Hub, and
Absolutely.
you can see the areas that actually have a lot of outage.
Exactly.
In it as well.
Smart Hub or our website, either one.
Right.
You can go on there, and it'll give you the location, gives you how many people's out. It'll give you the areas where people's out. You can go look at that and see if you're in that spot. If you're not, then definitely call in.
Boy, yeah.
So, because I did that. Those folks, both of them called in, and neither one of them were showing up on our list. So just be sure that you check those things, and please call in. I mean, I know people sometimes get frustrated calling into our automated line, but it does help expedite things and get them located a lot quicker.
And make sure you have your location number.
Absolutely.
That is making it the easiest way to do it.
Very true.
Because, you can say, I'm out and I'm on county road, this and this and this. There's a location number. It's on your bill.
Yep.
Please give them that location number, because now they know exactly where it's at.
A long time ago, we used to give out a little TV magnet, and you could write your location number and your your account number on there. That's still not a bad idea. I know we got magnets when we work at our. Just get a piece of paper, write that on there, and that way it's always on your fridge. You know where it's at. You don't have to go out and look for it, on your pole or look for your bill if you don't know where it's at. It's a lot of times it's electronic. So, write those down.
You may not want to walk out to your pole.
That's exactly right.
Storm either.
That's exactly right. So, please. We do get. I will say this: we do get a lot of folks that send in thank you cards and stuff. We appreciate that, and the folks that don't, we still appreciate it. We know that you understand and are thankful for our guys and what they do. So,
as well as I do in the service industry, when you have that, nobody wants to go off an electric because it's a convenience we have, but it used to be a convenience we have. Now I think people think it's more of a necessity,
Right.
and we do want to remind people, if you have some special need, if you have to have electricity at your house for something, make sure you get a backup generator, because not Intercounty's fault that line, maybe a tree comes down, takes a whole line, or somebody has a car accident, knock a pole down, and pulls all the lines down. Nothing Intercounty can do about that. They can't provide you electricity when it's not there.
Right.
So do make sure, if you do have a medical need to have electric all the time, talk to Intercounty, tell them, say, look, we have this, we have a backup generator here, but, backup generators only last so long, and if they can't go anywhere, you got, maybe a tank of gas, maybe it's all they have left, just to let you guys know. That might be one of the first things they need to do if you have somebody with an emergency. I'll take a look. If at all possible, they may put you a little bit up on the list to make sure they get.
And you can be on the list, but it still comes back to,
sure.
Yeah, how much is out on your line? So they've got to get all the feeders to your house before they can put you back on. And last spring, same thing. It was my secondary line from my pole to my house. Tree fell, took it out. Wasn't on the list. My line was still hot. It never did throw my breaker. So, it was laying on the ground hot. So always remember that as well. Do not touch that line. It may look like it's dead. It wasn't doing nothing, wasn't zipping, zapping.
It wasn't flying all over
Yeah,
the
it
place.
was not. It was laying on the ground hot. And but sometimes just like that, the secondary phase, or on the secondary going to your house. I don't mean this bad, but that's not a priority, because that does not get the most amount of people on. We'll come back and fix it, but they're going to work on that main line right there before they get everybody, go to the single outages. So,
and that's one thing we want to make sure everybody does. Just contact Intercounty. Stay in touch with them, whether it be outages or, as we have seen many times, capital credits.
yes, sir.
Capital credits. We have a whole bunch of capital credits that we're just waiting for somebody to come and say, I think that's mine.
Yep.
Wouldn't it be nice? We've reduced that 62-page book.
13,000 names.
Wow.
They're all listed alphabetically, and you can go on our website, and it is all, we have it on our website if you didn't get it in the paper, but, please look that over. If there's somebody I went through it and found 3 or 4 people I knew that had just moved. Yeah. And it's like, hey, you need to come in. You've got $200, come in. It's your money. We want you to have it, because if you don't have it, it goes back into our coffers. And it'll be used as if needed, but if not, it'll go back out to capital credits again. So please look that over. And like I said, if you know anybody or see somebody that's that has moved away, or just just moving from one place to another here. Sure. Sometimes that does not get on our list. So lots of folks. And like I said, I went to the business section. I found probably 5 different folks.
Wow.
One of them was really substantial. There's a lot of money. It's like, you might want that.
You can send it to me.
I asked them if they'd split it with me, and they really didn't want to. It's like, nah, I think I'll keep it.
Might be a good thing. But people don't understand. Things have changed from years ago. I remember in the 90s, with Intercounty, you had your mail-out bill. You send it back in. You got your capital credits notification. You got your invite, nice little pamphlet, little booklet you had for the annual meeting. Mm-hmm. Well, those things have changed. Now, a lot of times, you got that card. You can put, like you're talking about, put that card on the refrigerator. It reminds you, got capital credits. This is what I earn now. Mm-hmm. Knowing I have some coming is always nice. But you forget. You get through everyday life. And the more now we've gone into technology, Tony, the least amount of things we remember.
Right.
And I'm telling you what, when you move now, first thing you think about is a change of address card?
Right.
No. Just get out here. Move in here. I got to, you don't think about calling the utilities. You don't think about making sure that this is paid, making sure that is paid. A lot of times people think that they're all paid up on their electric. Well, are you getting service right now? Well, you haven't paid for that yet.
Yep. Very true.
It's true,
yep.
Right?
Very true.
You have a service availability charge. You have your feeder charge. You got everything that you need. Mm-hmm. However, the thing is that if I've used electric for half the month, shut it off, just called up American and say, I'm shutting it off, well, you still got to get a bill.
And if you've moved and left.
And if you moved and left without giving them an address, they're going to play havoc trying to get that money to you. And it may not be much. And it may be a bunch,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes.
So what we're saying is that if something in the past, even your parents or grandparents that may have lived in Intercounty service area,
Correct.
if they had capital credits but nobody's ever asked, how would you know?
It's really fairly simple, too. If somebody's passed and they have a capital credit on there and you're the kids, I think all it is a death certificate.
Yeah, it's one sheet, a couple of how
Yep.
you want it distributed.
Come in and they will, Jill, they can sign the affidavit in there in the office. Jill works in the office. She can notarize it, and we'll be sending your check out to you. So.
Yeah. And sometimes even those people, when Heather and I talk, some of those people, because the amount may not be overly substantial and you've got 7 siblings,
Yep.
they just send it over to Roundup.
Yep. Exactly.
Which is a great
And that
cause
is a great,
too.
Absolutely, it's a great cause.
You know, so we're trying to give. Just think about it. I mean, I know we all have technology in our hands anymore, but nobody remembers a phone number. So why would you remember you got capital credits?
Yeah.
You just won't. You get your bill, and in this world of technology, Tony, you know as well as I do, some people have automatic bank withdrawals or automatic payment off a credit card or automatic payment in some other form.
Yep.
They never see that bill. Or that bill comes in, they get it. Yep, that's it. Ping,
Yep.
put it if they get it and put it, want to file it. Some people throw these things away, and I'm like, how do you ever go back and review how much you had usage last? Well, I can look on SmartHub. Yes, you can. However, if you don't have any, if you go out to my tower, you may not have any internet,
That's right.
like none. Okay,
That's right.
So you don't have that. You need those paper things, and then you can take a look at it. You can take a look at the meter, write down on the meter what it is. Sure, you can still do that too. Remember when you had to go read
Yes,
your
sir.
meter?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, there was a lot more involvement. So you didn't have 13,000 people.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it just is really right now. We got so wrapped up in the world of technology that there's no need for us to follow up on these things that really you anytime you make a move, you should be following up and send out all utilities a forwarding address. You definitely need to do it. Number one, not only for the bill, but if there's any credits coming back, you won't get them.
That's right. And then it just goes back into our capital. So.
Right. And don't count on the post office to forward it.
Yep.
Even if you put in a change of address card with the post office, don't count on them to forward it, because sometimes it may take them 2 months to actually get that forwarding notice. And in between that, you got 2 notices from Intercounty, and it never got to you.
Yep.
They got sent back.
And I will say this, if you're looking at it, you need to get on it, because August 23rd is the time that some of those capital credits will fall off, will actually go back into our account. So if you're interested, please go look now so you can start getting that straightened out.
And the list is on SmartHub.
Yes.
So please go get on SmartHub and look at that list and blow it up big so you can see. It's really...
Some of us have to.
Yeah, it's really fine. I mean, there's a lot of names. 13,000 names is a lot to look at.
Yep.
And maybe just look, if you know of somebody that maybe moved on, maybe they've had family in the area, maybe they've passed, just don't know if the kids have claimed the credits. If you know their kids and you see that they have it, get in touch with them.
Yep.
It's
Absolutely.
that simple. Or if you know where their kids are, matter of fact, this might not be a bad idea either. If you know where their kids moved and you have their address, call Intercounty and say, that person's address is this. Contact them
Yep.
at this address.
It
I'm
will.
sure they will,
Yep.
and just see if that is the right address for them people so they get it back. So there's a lot of mail costs
Yes.
that go into this. That's your investment.
It is.
Because you're a member. That's your money.
It is your money.
It's
That's
your money
exactly
going
right.
out there.
So we
trying
would
to
like
reach
for you to
people.
have it back.
Absolutely. One of the things that I was reading in rural Missouri that I did not know Intercounty did was they had some contributions to foster care that just came up. And there was 5 different contributions to foster care, I think totaling $25,000. That was something that I was unaware that Intercounty does, and I'm wondering how many other people are out there listening are unaware of this, Tony, because it's just part of the community that Intercounty is, serving the areas that they do. But how many times do you ever hear of somebody donating that money into foster care? You just don't hear about it.
Right. And this year was foster care. Every year it's something we try to look to find something different. Now it is a combination of us, and I believe it is CFC, one of our financing companies. They donate the money. We match it along with Show Me, and that's where that money comes from. And it is strictly for our members. Now we've helped, like this year was foster care. We've helped places like pregnancy resource centers.
Right.
We've helped community outreach, food pantries.
Right.
We try to help all of. One year we did the senior centers as well. So these are things as a company or that you own, we want to do for our members, and it is very, like I said, it is very important to us. It's one of our core principles, concern for community, and it is definitely, as Intercounty goes, it's one of our priorities, and we want to make sure that we help everybody that we can. So we do look for those entities every year, and foster care, I can't think of anything better. My son and we was talking about getting my second grandson. We actually got him through adoption. So the mother was wanting to give the child up. She decided to go for adoption instead of putting him in foster care, and we are very thankful for that, because now I have a wonderful little grandson, and makes me tear up a little bit. But sorry about that. But it's those kind of things that we want to do as an organization for our communities.
And that just enhances the position of what people should feel about their utilities. Yeah. It's not just getting the money to pay for your electric, getting the money to pay for this service or that service. The money that is received works back into the community operation. Roundup does. This does. You guys do a number of different things. As we mentioned, we show up at the auctions. You guys are very community-oriented in all the communities that you serve, and it's not just one or two. So I think some people think, well, they just do this in Salem or they just do this in Rolla because they're the major one. No, it's every single community that they serve. So that is the neat thing about it. We are in summertime. We know people are getting a little higher bills. And we always want to remind people, I always want to remind people this time of year, Tony, whether it be you or Heather or anybody else, that levelized billing is a great way to go if you've already been an Intercounty customer at least 12 months at that address. So I'm not an Intercounty customer 8 months at this address and 7 that doesn't count. Right. You have to be at 12 months at that address. If you want to be in control of your bill, that's a great budget tool that you can have. Go on, just very simple, levelized billing, and you're going to know what you're going to be paying. Yes, there will be adjustments at the end of your period. Yes, there will be.
Up or down.
Up or down. You don't know. You may use less electric. Yep. But, Tony, I just think so. So many people were always talking about inflation. And instead of trying to fight inflation every month, because you don't know how much you're going to use. You don't know if it's going to be 110 the next 10 days in a row. Right. It's going to really put a real big into your bill somewhere down the road. Get that levelized billing. Yes, you will end up paying for that electric, but it won't have to be in 1 month.
Right, correct. And that is a great opportunity for people, especially if you're setting up a budget. Your younger folks, I mean, I always talk to my boys about this. My older two are pretty good. My younger one's getting into it now. Just got him a good job and setting up a billing. But knowing what you spend every month and knowing what you have to allocate for that is a big deal. It really is.
Well, absolutely.
So the levelized billing really does help, because it's going to be the same thing for 11 months. 12 months, I think, will be the adjustment time on that, if I'm thinking correctly. And so it is a big help for a lot of folks. And some folks, we have prepay billing as well.
Sure.
And prepay billing is not some people would think it's for people that don't pay their bills. No, it's not. It's kind of the same way. If somebody does not want to have a large bill every month or pay for service availability, something like that, if you got a limited budget, when you do your billing, or you have a meter in your house, that little thing, that little box you get tells you how much you use every month. And that way you can kind of figure out what you need to use, what you're using, what made it higher, what made it lower. Then if you want to move into something like, just a regular bill and move into levelized billing,
Sure.
you know what you're using at the time. So it's a good tool for a lot of things. So there's a lot of opportunities to be able to pay your bill that's affordable for you, especially with this inflation that's been going on.
Well, I was going to mention the prepaid billing is a great tool for somebody just starting out. You don't have to put a deposit
Absolutely.
down, and in this opportunity for you to actually find out how hard it is to pay your bills on time.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to say you're going to put $50 down on your bill. That's great. Oh, I'm going to probably be good for 3 weeks. You find out in 5 days you've used $42.08.
Yep.
We're turning that air up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a great lesson.
Well, it is. It's a realization of fact,
Yep.
and there's facts around us all the time. That doesn't mean we believe them.
Right.
But in this case, if you're going to use a lot of electricity, or you may find out that maybe your home isn't as insulated as you thought. And then that's another thing that Intercounty can help you with is energy audits,
Right.
which can really be a big thing. And we'll talk about those in just a minute. But figure out what's the best system for you.
Yes.
You can have not only levelized billing, you can have it auto withdrawal out of your
Correct.
account. You can pay it by credit card, and you can also, as we mentioned, talk about prepaying it. There's a number of different ways to get it done. Whatever system works best for you. But if you are really stretched tight, and I know a lot of times in summertime, people want to take a vacation. They want to know, okay, yeah, we're going to go in August or we're going to go in July. Well, okay, when you're going to go in July and you all of a sudden you get a couple big bills, you come back from that July bill, and maybe June was super hot, and you get back in August, all of a sudden you spend a little more money on vacation you thought, and you get back and bang. Now you've got a big bill because of the time before you left.
Right.
You're not going to have such a big bill the next time because
Right.
you were gone,
Right.
but you're going to have a big bill the first time while you're here. And it just that's the realization of it. If you do it on levelized billing, you won't feel that.
That's
it
right.
won't hurt.
It'll be the exact whatever you
Yeah.
paid last month.
Yeah.
It'll be this month.
Yeah,
So that's exactly
so
right.
think about that. If you do want to do some traveling, if you do want to make sure that your budget's a little bit in a better place,
Yep.
it's a great tool. So let's get back. Let's take that one step backwards, like we already did, about the audits. Energy audits, especially this time of year in the wintertime.
Yes.
Obviously, this is when you really feel it. Somebody said, "Yeah, I checked that out in the spring. I didn't feel any leaks at all." Well, you probably won't.
Yep. That's exactly
You will
right.
in the summer.
Yes, sir.
You will in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
And you've done enough of these energy
Yes.
audits or been with the guys when they've done them. People don't even really realize maybe how little insulation they have because their home's older.
Absolutely. I kind of have. Bad thing about all these things, I can relate. I can go back to my house on this. We moved into our Steph's grandfather's and grandmother's old house. It's not quite as well insulated as the new addition we put on there.
Right.
So that side of the house always seems to stay a little cooler or warmer, depending on which one it is, winter or summer.
Sure.
And you notice that. The one thing they did do is change the windows out, so they're pretty good and sealed. And I check every winter, make sure my doors are good and sealed because you have things that happen, something gets ripped, pull over, but you need to make sure your doors seal well
That's
too,
right.
because this that can heat or cool can infiltrate that, and it makes a lot of difference. On our energy audits, a lot of times we find that it's just there's not a lot you can do a lot of times on the walls. Even if the insulation's in there, it's fail, or if it's not insulated well. But there are things in the attic. You can put attic insulation in really quickly. Well, I won't say cheap, but cheaper than most other methods, and that will help more than just about anything you do. It will keep that heat and cool from going, filtrating through your house, through your ceiling and leaving your house. So that's something. But that's one of those things. If you come to us and look, we can help you pinpoint those things.
Right.
And if you don't want to do that, just like Stan's saying, if you're summer or winter, you can take an old candle or those Scentsy sticks, take them around. They will let you know if there's air infiltration around your doors, your windows. Check underneath your sinks. A lot of times, those
Those
around
holes,
your
you
pipes,
bet.
they've not been sealed around. Lots of air comes through those. So there's a lot of opportunities to look, and you can do a lot of those
Right.
just by caulking or
Buy some small
Yep.
insulation, just
Yep.
tuck it in there.
That's
You
exactly
bet.
right.
And I always hope that people take these things seriously because a lot of people say, "Oh, that's not happening in my house." All right. So let's just say you got insulation in your house, and say your house was built in the 80s, and they laid in your nice pink fiberglass Corning insulation. They laid it in there, and it's 3 inches thick in the 1980s. It's not 3 inches thick now. And I can tell you right now, it's probably about an inch, if that, because over time it loses its potency. So then let's say you realize this, and in the 2000s you went and had somebody blow in insulation in your boy, that was great. Now you've got 5 inches, 6 inches of insulation. Go back up there now, I bet you don't have 5 or 6 inches of insulation. Probably down to about 3. Now 3's not bad, but 5's better.
Yep.
Now I'm not telling you everybody to go out there and go blowing insulation in every nook and cranny into your house, but look at it.
Yep.
Go up, put your head up into the attic. I know it's not the best thing to do this time of year.
Yeah.
It's a little uncomfortable. Wait till spring if you want to wait till that. But look up there, and if you can see the 2x4s that go across that are making up your ceiling, and if you can see those 2x4s that they're using, and you can see the wood, you're not enough insulation.
Yep.
So, just a simple rule of thumb. Another thing about insulation, Tony, and a lot of people have crawl spaces, you need insulation under your house. And there's a lot of different things. I learned a long time ago about vapor barriers. You don't want to have that moisture off the ground coming up. If you put all that insulation in, it's not going to be cheap. But as Tony mentioned, it is important, because if you don't put it in there, let's just say you have the ground, just dirt, maybe it's in your crawl space, and then you have your wood underneath there, well, you can kind of tell that ground is going to get moist. The water's going to drain whichever way it drains, but it's going to be in that earth.
Yep. And
then as it gets hot or cold, either way, gets up under your wood, that's going to cause some problems.
It is.
Get that insulation up underneath there, and I know I had a guy do it for me. It's hard finding some people do this, but once you get them, you're going to feel such a difference. You put 4 inches of insulation under a tile floor in the winter, holy cow.
Yep, that's right.
It's a whole different ball game than walking on that 18-degree floor in the morning.
I'm telling you, Stan, I don't know why it made me think this, but if you've ever slept on an air mattress, you sleep on it, but what does that air inside that air mattress do? It cools usually at night.
Sure.
By the time you wake up in the morning,
It's warm.
that's cool. Well, it's warm where you're at, but it's
Yeah.
cool. You feel that cool air coming
you
up.
can,
Same
yes.
thing in your house.
Yeah.
If you've got that cool air into there, it's seeping up into that floor, and you can have more problems. I mean, you can get into mold and everything else with that. But that makes a lot of difference when it comes to heating or cooling your house.
It's one nice thing about air mattresses. If you get too hot on one side, you roll
That's
over,
right.
and it's nice and cool.
That's right.
And that air will cool on the other side.
Yep.
Which is a wonderful thing to do. Unfortunately for your floor, if it's always feeling, and especially in the summer, and I notice tile floors, they're always good and cool. And I think people like that in the summer. Winter, they're not so crazy about it, because that cool floor is down there. Well, you don't want it to be a cold floor. You do not want moisture to get in between your subfloor and your tile, because it'll start to pop.
Yep.
And it can happen, right?
Yes,
You've
sir.
seen it.
Yes,
I'm sure
absolutely.
you've seen it. So do this. I mean, we're not telling you got to go spend $50,000 to do this, but take a look. If you want to do it yourself, you can go get your own insulation. Maybe some areas are good. Maybe you got some areas that aren't so good. Go ahead and do it. I know you can rent things to blow in insulation.
Absolutely.
I know a few years back I had a gentleman actually blowing insulation into my garage. People say, "What are you doing? That's crazy. That's insane." Well, not necessarily, because my furnace is in my garage.
There you go.
So here it is. My garage never gets under 50 degrees in the winter, because the furnace is out there, and if the house gets a little heat, it warms up out there, and guess what? It warms up enough. It's not going to be 72,
Right.
but that insulation I put around there keeps it from getting any colder. So no matter how much wind blows on the house, doesn't make any difference. And like I said, that was just something I learned a long time ago by accident, because I rented a house that had an insulated garage. Never had that. When I grew up, it was just just your studs. You saw it, no big deal. It's the garage.
Yep.
Stuff in the garage. I used to bring my vehicle home with all the snow and stuff, and I would tell you within 8 to 10 minutes, you can already see it melting off your vehicle. Even though it's like 45, 50 degrees, but within 2 to 3 hours, your vehicle's clean.
Yep.
And you didn't do anything. You just didn't leave it outside in the cold because it's going to freeze, it's going to refreeze. But the nice thing about that was it went down to a little drain that was in the garage, and it drained out. It was gone. Somebody was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But it does cost a little extra if you're going to do that. But to blow in that insulation, you can just get pressed board. You don't have to make it pretty.
Yep.
You don't have to be very creative with artistic stuff and make a mural in your garage or anything. But if you
right.
want to, you can. But the point is, you can strategize this and help save energy in a number of different ways.
Right.
It may cost you a little bit up front, but over the long run, how much did you save? And also the thing about the garage is, Tony, is when you come into your house, instead of opening it up and having a 31-degree
right.
garage and then opening a door and all that cold air going in, it's 50, 55.
That's right.
You pull in, you're going to let some cold air in, but it's still not going to be 31 degrees.
Right.
And then you can go right inside your home. It acts as a barrier.
Sure
Helps
does.
keep that furnace from having to work harder.
That's right. That's
One
exactly
way or
right.
another, be it gas, electric, it doesn't make any difference when they have to work harder or burn more wood, whatever you're using. There's a lot of different ways to keep your home
That's
either
exactly
nice
right.
and warm or cool
Yep.
in the summer. What else you got? You got a couple lists on there. I don't want to mess you
Well,
up.
no. Heather always does a great job because she knows I don't do this very often anymore. But we did have something that happened, some utility scams. She said we've actually had members recently scammed. Licking people fell for a phone scam claiming they didn't sign the check they sent in. Was told to purchase prepaid card from Walmart and make immediate payment that way in order to avoid disconnection. Just please, if somebody ever calls you for that, we are not. This is something typically we're not going to call you about. Hang up with that call. Call back to our 800 number and get hold of one of our representatives. Check that out before you do anything like that. We do not want our members losing money of any kind, especially to a scam like that. So
Sure.
it's always best if you don't feel. It's always best just to check. I won't even say if you don't feel like it. If you don't feel like it's right or not, just hang up when you get done with that. Don't go buy the card. Call in. We're not going to ask you to go get a Walmart card to pay your bill. So call us. For one, for reporting it, so we know what's happening, and we can, just like this, we can warn our other members. But call us. We're not going to require you to bring us a Walmart card. And if you want to give me one for Christmas, I'll take one. But we're not going to call in and ask you to make your payment. Okay.
Now, and with that, Tony, if you have caller ID and you see a number show up there, please write that number down.
Absolutely.
And then you can report that to Intercounty, but also they can report it to Licking Police.
Absolutely.
Or Texas County Sheriff's Department, or in our area, Denton County Sheriff's Department, or City of Salem, so they can actually take a look at that and see if somebody's phishing, if somebody out there is actually using a number locally to make some calls and do something as crazy as that. But hey, there's a lot of different things out there. One of the things talking about a scam that I was reading about, and it was really interesting to me. Not that they didn't sign a check, it's that they have a credit, and to get this credit, they needed, oh, by the way, we have a capital credit for you.
Right.
Okay, but we can't send it to you until we can verify this, this, and this. So they asked for all this information to verify your account. Well, when you give them all the information, and they usually will sneak something in there about, well, we'll send it to your account. We'll send that capital credit account directly into your account, and they ask you for an account number.
Yeah.
Guys, don't
Do it.
do it.
Do not.
And that was the other one that I had heard about. I don't know if it's been here yet, but it has been done with co-ops where you have a capital or earned credit, and they say, oh, by the way, we have good news for you. You have a $355 earned credit that we need to put into your account. Well, we don't send out checks anymore. It's all electronic payments, so we need your account number. Well, you give me your account number, guess what? It's not going to go in. More likely, it's going to go out.
Yep, that's right.
So please don't do that. And if you do, again, get a number on somebody calling you with that, please report that to your local
Definitely
police.
the best.
Very good.
Couple real quick
Sure,
things.
absolutely.
First of all, July 29th at the
Elmo.
Yes, that's right.
Woohoo!
Elmo Finding Nemo.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Now you got me going. Elmo, yes.
Yeah.
I got Elmo on my
All right.
socks. Man. Look there.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
What you do? Elmo.
Hey, when you got grandkids, you do what you got to do.
That's exactly
But
right.
anyways,
Finding Nemo.
Yes, Finding Nemo at the. It'll be
Park.
actually at the first pavilion this year because it kind of got double booked. But we will be there. Showing a community movie, just like we was talking about, things we like to do for our communities. It's free. Please come and join us.
There
We'd
will
like
be
for you to enjoy it.
concessions, I understand.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
There will be concessions.
Okay.
The next one was our youth tour delegates. We wanted to give a shout out to them. Alyssa McBee from Salem and Finley Sullins from Licking were the winners for the Washington, D.C. trip. And on July 19th to the 21st, Micaiah Mullins, I hope that is correct. I apologize. Micaiah,
Probably.
thank you.
I think
Thank you
so.
very much. And then Jamal Metcalf from Salem are going. And then from Licking, it'll be Riley Barton and Emily Breeden. So they will get to go on those trips free of charge from Intercounty. And we did get to listen to the folks from the trip to D.C., and they were... It's amazing. I'm telling you, you take those kids up there and they're like, what's happening? What are we doing? They won't talk. They won't do anything. They come back, you can't get them to shut up. I'm telling you, that van's like, blah, and then all of a sudden you look back and they're all asleep because they're wiped out from just a full week of what. And every kid that I've ever talked to just says, I cannot believe what a good trip that was.
And
So,
next, let's not slight the Jeff City trip either.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, Heather even said they're talking about increasing that another day.
Yeah.
Which would be great.
it would.
Because there's enough stuff to see up there in Jeff City that you can't get it all in 2
That's
days.
exactly
I mean,
right.
you get up there and you get situated. You got, you get eat. You check in a motel. You eat. You get yourself situated, and immediately you start going. And you don't stop until it's all over. But you're still trying to cram a lot of
Yes,
stuff in.
it is.
But that Capitol tour is still
Same thing. The
pretty
kids come
cool,
back, they're
yeah.
like, wow, we just doing this.
Yeah, we made our own bill.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. That
Yeah,
is
we
really,
outlawed Kool-Aid.
and they learn the process, of what a bill does in there. They go through all that. They vet all that through the system. So it's a pretty amazing trip to go to. And we always like to throw out that, Representative Jason Smith was, he went through this program
yes.
and loved it. And, it's always good to have those. He always meets the kids when they come up there if he has the opportunity at all. He always talks to them when they go to D.C. Our local reps and, here are always great in supporting us on those things as well, representatives and senators. And it's just a great opportunity that's provided, kind of another one of those things that we like to provide for our community and for our kids.
Very good. Now, Tony is in actually a different part of what Heather usually does. And
That's right.
usually when we talk to you, we're talking about the different things in economic development and things of that nature. I don't want to forget about that because it's very important. Intercounty offers some very, very good incentives to help you expand your business. There's a number of different ways. They still have the LIGHT program, but you have to be Intercounty a customer, and it doesn't work here.
Unfortunately.
I've tried.
I know it. Darn it.
I tried every time. I keep saying, "You sure?" But there are other programs that people should be made aware of, Tony. And I think a lot of people think, "Well, I can't really afford it." In this day of higher interest rates, right now, working through Intercounty with the funds that you guys have may just be a way that you can increase that business, expand that business, or start that business that you want to. Maybe it's an offshoot of something you currently do. Get in touch with you.
Correct, absolutely. Myself or Kristen Sullins. Kristen Sullins now works with me. I know she's been on the
Really?
radio in the past, but
I
Kristen,
saw her up at the business expo.
that's exactly right. Kristen
Yes.
does. We're still under member services, but we're kind of our own little entity now. Our CEO Doug Lane has kind of moved us into our own, and we've been working on expanding the economic development side, whether it's helping with applying for grants. Or loan. We do have a loan program. I think Stan was kind of alluding to. We use the co-ops are the only ones that can use it's called a USDA Red Leg loan and grant program. It is a direct loan from USDA to the co-ops. We turn around and loan it out to our members. Once they do an application with us, we get it approved here, and then it goes into competitive side. Once it's approved, then we go through all that process. But
that's the longest one.
It is. Yeah. It's up to $2 million. That's a great opportunity if you got a larger company or larger business that's wanting to expand or even start something. Usually on that, we'll need a business plan. I can do a write-up, then I submit it to our Economic Development Committee, and it's submitted to the board, and then we move forward from there once it's approved. We also actually have the grant side of that. I'll go with that. It's up to $330,000. Intercounty actually puts in $30,000 for that $300,000 match, and it is the same way. You would apply for it. If it's approved by our board, it goes to USDA. Once it's approved there, they would make a loan to us. We turn around and make a loan to the member, and then we actually, when they make the payment to us, we get to keep that money. That's why it's called a grant. It's actually a grant for Intercounty, but then we put that money into a revolving loan fund.
Right.
Revolving loan fund is another opportunity for a loan. We usually keep them smaller, $100,000 or less, and we use them more for local uses. We've helped fire departments. We've helped child care facilities. We might even helped one radio station that I'm aware of. So, it's things like that. That's another community opportunity. Those loans, we do charge 1% interest on them, just for the fact it's a revolving loan. So once it's paid back in, that allows us to expand our money and be able to use it. The USDA loan, if it's a member of Intercounty, the $2 million or the $300,000 one, as long as you're an Intercounty member, it's a 0% interest. If it's not on us, if somebody like inside the city would like to use it, it's a 1% fee on it. That's through USDA, because we don't recoup any electric use from that. So they allow us to at least recoup something from that for our services. So that's one way. He was talking about our business lighting program. It is strictly for businesses, but businesses is a broad range. It can be for mechanic shops. It can be for farms, barns, anything like that you actually have a business on.
That is supplied electric by Intercounty.
Exactly. That has to be on Intercounty as well. And it is a great opportunity for our members. It's up to 40% of the cost of the materials. A lot of folks, and you can do that a lot of ways. We've actually helped all four of the rural schools here, the R1, R2, R3, and R4, helped them with their process. 40% savings on some of these is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
And then you recoup once we provide information on what your payback will be. So if you go to LED lights, we will give you the payback, and most all those are less than 2 years on the money you spent. You will recoup that savings on those. So you're really putting in a system within 2 years that is paying for itself. So it's quite a great opportunity, and like I said, all our schools have done it. We've done it for lots of businesses, but unfortunately, right now it's still our members. It's from Associated Electric, and we just get to administer it. So,
but that's not. It's still a fantastic program. So anybody who's in the county, Denton County, Phelps County, Texas County, that might be listening in, that's an Intercounty customer, and that you have a business. If you have not taken advantage of that lighting program, get in touch with Tony,
please,
because they can come and they can take a look, and they're not afraid to come out and take a look at your business. Give them a call and say, I don't know if I qualify for this. They'll come out and they'll check it out for you to see if it's worth doing, and more than likely, if you have more than 4 fixtures, it's worth doing.
Absolutely. They like to limit us at 10, but they're pretty good to us. They let us do it for less than that. So if you got 4 or 5 lights, don't hesitate to call. We would be glad to do it.
But find out. There's no harm in making the phone call.
Absolutely.
And asking. And again, when we start talking about these interest rates and you start talking about 1%, you're not going to find that anywhere else. This type of loan, obviously, it's not very hard to get. If you need to have a business plan, even for the revolving loan fund. But you do need to work with Intercounty and get all the information. It's not very hard. They will require you to get some paperwork, obviously. That's not a big deal. But I'm going to tell you, in all honesty, you have a 10-year time frame to pay it back, which should make it very affordable for anybody, and you can prepay it.
Absolutely.
You can pay it all back at one time if you want to. Why at 1%? Would you want to prepay it? Don't know. But, I mean, there might be somebody that gets flush with cash and say, look, I just want to pay that off and get it off my books. That's fine. It's
Absolutely.
not a big deal.
No prepayment penalties of any kind.
And again, if you have questions on that one, and that's a great loan program, especially if it's just something like an expansion or you need an improvement or maybe you got some equipment you need to replace. $35,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, perfect program to get it. And it will help keep your cash flow going. And I think that's the thing I always get worried about, Tony, when people go to borrow money right now. You're looking at 5.5%, 6%, 7%, 8% in some cases.
That's right.
Cash flow gets a little bit pushed. 8% can be a good chunk of change over a period of 5-10 years.
Absolutely. When you're talking $50,000-$60,000, that's a pretty good little chunk, or even $100,000. I mean, that's a lot of difference in money.
A lot of difference in money. So a simple phone call to Tony
or Kristen. Yep.
Or I was kidding. I was going there.
No, I'm sorry. My bad.
I was going there.
You remember well.
I don't want to leave Kristen out. She'll beat me.
She will. She'll beat me too, though.
Yeah, there you go. No, she's very, very sharp. Talk either one. Just give them a call, and they can give you the details on the package. It really is very simple. I think the application is like 1 or 2 pages.
It's 2 fill out and then a signature page. So
it's pretty hard.
Yeah,
and that's the way to get started. And then they can take a look at it, and they'll tell you what you need to do. And it's really pretty simple.
I'd love to as well.
Absolutely, they want to work with you. And again, you do not have to be an Intercounty customer to get that revolving fund.
That's exactly right.
I think that's all. I think it confuses people. Well, if I'm not Intercounty, how can I get it through Intercounty? It's a service they offer because you are in their territory. You're just not a customer of them.
And we look at it. We're talking about community. We look at it. Whatever it can help our members, whether they're inside. A lot of times our members will be using that facility or listen, like the radio, listening to it, or if it's a fire department inside. I mean, it doesn't matter. Our members can benefit from it, and all members, not even necessarily ours, but even the communities, we're still connected. We still have family and relatives and friends that live inside the communities, and it all pays back because it's worth doing for our members.
And what's that number to get a hold of you, buddy?
866-621-3679 is our 800 our toll-free number. I can't say 800 number.
No.
And then you can just ask for Kristen or I, either one there, and they'll get us directly to them or directly to us. We're also on the website, so you can call and talk, or you can email us that way, or it's pretty easy to get a hold of us. We're out and about a lot. I'm going to be at the Salem Chamber today, so
there you go.
If you got some questions, please ask me there. So.
Very good.
We'll be out.
Very good. All right, today is also Roundup Day.
Yes.
Okay, so we want to remind everybody that Roundup is a fantastic program. You cannot use it for electric usage if you do need it, and you do need to apply before the end of the month. So if you were trying to get money for this month, you would have had to have it in by June 30th. Yeah. So if you have an issue that you've got to get some funds for, you're not quite sure how you're going to get them, get the application. Again, just call the same number we just talked about. I think I even asked Heather if that was online at Smart Hub, and she did not think so.
I don't think so either. I don't think
so. You do need to call them, and then just tell them they'll send you the form, they'll fax you the form, email you the form, get you the form, they'll mail it to you the old-fashioned way, or you can even go over to the office and pick one up.
Absolutely.
And then fill it out, and then submit it, but do need to submit it by the end of July to qualify for August.
Correct. And it is a great opportunity. Don't think you may not qualify. At least look at it and submit it, and if it's not something that they think they can do, they will let you know that. But they've helped a lot of people with a lot of different things.
Yes.
So
nobody knows what everybody goes through. I mean,
that's exactly right.
Just heard this the other night. Nobody knows what issue you're going through at that moment, and it can change your whole outlook and put you under stress. It can affect your breathing, in fact, everything. That type of stress can really do some damage to your system, and it's just an easy way of applying to get a little help. It's not going to solve the world's problems, but it will get you through that issue. If you have one issue, we know a lot of people's air conditioners can be breaking down this time of year, especially the elderly.
Right.
And I've even known that they got tires for somebody's car. They couldn't afford them. So different things can be done with Operation Roundup, but they will not pay your electric bill.
That's exactly right. That's the only thing we will not pay right now that I know of.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing I can think of. I got nothing else. You have anything?
Nope, I'm good. I'm talked out, man.
That never happens.
You're correct.
But it's a nice thought. Bring that up to you. But we want to thank Tony for coming in, spending some time with us. And our friends from Intercounty Electric are here every second Tuesday. And we, again, appreciate all the great work that they do in the communities, around the communities. Again, a tip of our cap to the servicemen out there. These guys are fantastic. You wouldn't get me to be a lineman for, you couldn't pay me. Not enough. And I wouldn't climb up there anyway.
Amen. There you go.
But I tip my cap to them because everybody says, how hard can it be and why do they get paid so much? They don't get paid enough sometimes, but you got to get out there in that storm. And no way. I remember a winter storm out there, and I saw those guys out there. I don't know how they felt anything.
I know.
Because they have to use gloves, and they have to do that, and they're out in that cold. And, man, I'm telling you what, their faces were absolutely beet red. And, ooh.
Yep. They work in some of the nastiest situations you ever seen.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would be good if somebody could see actually what they do, because it is amazing.
It is true. I have a little bit closer because Kyle's lineman, but still, when I see what has happened out here, and over the years, and things have changed, but still, it's still tough.
Yeah,
you
very,
get out there,
very hard.
and if you have to get out there and it's 110 degrees on the ground, it's 115 up there,
and no shade.
No shade, and you're right there.
You've got
and you're
all
sweating.
your equipment on, your fire retardant
system,
system,
and you're sweating profusely. So again, I give those guys all the credit in the world.
Me too.
Absolutely, really do.
Truly appreciate what.
Then there's Tony.
Yeah, they're like, who?
Anyway,
does he work there?
Yeah. Well, first off, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on the new grandchild.
Thank you very much.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
And we hope to see you pretty soon. We will be seeing somebody at the 4-H and FFA livestock auction Saturday from Intercounty. And don't feel embarrassed to talk to them about anything you heard today or didn't hear today. They're more than happy to listen to your concerns as well.
We don't know. We can't fix what we don't know, so please call us and let us know.
There you go, buddy. Hey, good to see you.
Thank you
for stopping by. Here at KSMO Radio, we have Civic Happenings coming your way very shortly. Keep it right.